Peace and welcome to another episode of Oddly Familiar. Today we have an old school style episode. We'll just talk about 10 random submissions. A few from viewers and a few that we found on our own. So let's not waste any more time. Our first up comes from the game Donkey Kong Country 2 on the Game Boy Advance. The Funky Mission Fail theme. And that sounds an awfully lot like the intro and commercial buffer from the TV show Home Improvement. Submitted by Good Vibe Collecting, thanks for the comment. Home Improvement was one of the most popular shows on TV at the time. Running for 8 seasons, it never fell out of the top 10. The composer of the theme, Dan Folliard, has had his work featured on many different TV shows, some of them being quite popular. Donkey Kong Country 2 was originally released on the Super Nintendo in 1995 and then ported to the Game Boy Advance in 2004. I would give this one around a 7 out of 10 on our Oddly scale. It has the same feel and even throws in the vocal sound effect at the end to top it off. Our next up is another one submitted by Good Vibe Collecting. This one comes from Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, a theme titled Seabed. Now let's compare that to the sophisticated theme from Inspector Gadget. As someone who grew up watching Inspector Gadget, it's difficult to not hear the theme in the Mario song. The Inspector Gadget cartoon only lasted 2 seasons, but they did manage to do 86 episodes, with Season 1 containing 65 of those episodes. Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga was first released in 2003 for the Game Boy Advance, and released again on the 3DS in 2017. The soundtrack was composed by the one and only Yoko Shimomura, so you know it's quality. On the Oddly scale, I would rate this one around a 6 out of 10. It's not as clear as the previous entry, and maybe more of a coincidence. Either way, it definitely reminds me of Inspector Gadget. Number 8 on our list today comes from Celeste, a theme titled Joy of Remembrance. And that has a little bit of a Chrono Trigger vibe. Singing Mountain. Celeste is a platform game that was released in 2018. The soundtrack was composed by Lena Raine, an American composer who has worked on multiple Celeste games. A friend recommended the Celeste soundtrack, and while giving it a listen, I heard a small portion of the track that reminded me of Chrono Trigger. It may be a common riff, so we ended up contacting the composer. She never got back to us, but one of her previous retweets was a Chrono Trigger artwork, so she definitely knows of the game. This could be a possible inspiration. On our Oddly rating, we have this one a 5 out of 10. It could have been a 6 out of 10 if she confirmed it. Lucky number 7 was first featured in Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, one of the most popular themes in the franchise, Bloody Tears. And that sort of sounds like Tangerine Dream's Alchemy of the Heart. From Scotty the Great One, he submitted many different tracks inspired by Alchemy of the Heart, but we had to go with Castlevania. It's not exactly the same, but after playing different Castlevania games for the last 20 years, it's the first piece of music that popped into my head. I'm not gonna call the intro generic, but it seems like a popular technique, kind of like the Dragon Warrior Castle theme. But that's another episode. On our oddly scale, this is the lowest one on our list today with a 4 out of 10. Up next, we have one from Wedding Peach, titled, Let's Cook Something Up. Now here is Maurice Williams and the Zodiacs, Stay. The song Stay was written by Williams in 1953 when he was 15 years old. In 1960, the song was put on a demo by Williams and the Zodiacs. In my opinion, this is one of the best songs that you will ever find that is under 2 minutes. Clocking in at 1 minute and 36 seconds, it's the shortest single ever to reach the top of the American record charts. The game Wedding Peach was released in Japan only in 1995 for the Super Famicom. It consists of a bunch of mini-games in which 3 girls compete for the right to ask the guy they like to the school dance. On our oddly scale, we have this one a 6 out of 10. It's only about half of that riff, but I definitely think of the Maurice Williams song. Our 5th up is from Herc's Adventures, a theme titled The Adventure Begins. And that has a certain Star Wars feel to it. Released in 1997 for the Sega Saturn and the Sony PlayStation, this action-adventure game has a soundtrack composed by Michael Land, who is best known for his work on games produced by LucasArts, and that includes quite a few Star Wars games. There's a few different parts of the Hercules theme that almost have a parody feel, however it's just a small portion of the overall theme, so we rate this one a 5 out of 10 on the oddly scale. And maybe on a generous day, a 6 out of 10. Unlucky number 4 comes from Earthworm Jim, one titled, What the Heck? And that is the popular classical piece known as Night on Bald Mountain. We have been sitting on this one for a while, and one day Quantum X had an oddly that he couldn't place. Plus, we even had a few comments from viewers, so we figured it's a good time to finally cover this one. You can find the theme on different versions of the game. We showcased the PC version because it's the easiest to recognize, but, for example, here is the Super Nintendo version. On the oddly scale, this one is quite high. We rated it a 9 out of 10. I would consider it a parody, and Earthworm Jim is known for doing that type of stuff. In at number 3, we have one from The Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess, the Hidden Village theme. And that reminds me of Daddy Cool by Boney M. Twilight Princess was released in 2006 for the GameCube and the Wii, exactly 40 years before the song Daddy Cool in 1976. Done by the group Boney M, who you may know from their song Rasputin. The 4 original members include Liz Mitchell, Marcia Barrett, Maisie Williams, and Bobby Farrell. 3 of the 4 members are still alive. Bobby Farrell passed away on the 30th of December in 2010 in St. Petersburg, Russia. Coincidentally, on the same date and in the same city as Rasputin himself. On the Oddly scale, we have this one a 6 out of 10. But I'm sure there are some other songs that sound similar to this, so we may revisit this one in the future. Number 2 is from Super Dany, the castle theme. And that screams Michael Jackson. Super Dany is a 1994 Super Nintendo game that was released only in France. The game's characters are based off the mascot for French food corporation Danone. You may know of them because of their yogurt. The bass line at the beginning of the track, combined with a certain spooky feel, reminds me of MJ. Then on top of that, they add some sound effects and what sounds like a crow. It has almost a graveyard feel. The similar section is only the very start of the track. If it was the whole thing, it could be as high as an 8 out of 10. But as it is, on the Oddly scale, we have it as a 6 out of 10. Our last entry today is from Mario Kart DS, the end credits theme. That reminds me of the ending theme from Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So this is one that I have thought sounds familiar ever since I played Mario Kart DS. I find it ironic that both of the themes take place at the end of the game, but I think that's just a coincidence. Other parts of this Mario Kart theme sound familiar to another track that I haven't placed yet, so we may revisit this one in the future. Mario Kart DS was first released in 2005 with the soundtrack composed by Shinobu Tanaka. Sonic 2 in 1992 and was composed by one of my personal favorites, Masato Nakamura. On the Oddly scale, we rated a 6 out of 10. The themes aren't very similar besides that one portion, but they do sound kinda similar. So we are thinking of an updated Oddly scale and making it 1 through 5 instead of 1 through 10. I think both have pros and cons, but just let us know what you think about moving forward. Last but not least, shout out to gold level patrons Bear Sona and Quantum X. I am ICC. Thanks for watching. Peace.